Okay, here we go, objective 93. Yesterday, we did objective 92, which introduced you to the triangle's congruence postulates. So there's the big four. What were they? What was the first one?
SSS.
SSS for side, 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 followed by, what was the next?
SAS.
SAS. Side, angle, side. Next one.
Ah.
As. And
Put a Z in there.
ASA. Alright, so those. Remember the one that did not work?
Yeah.
No, SSA didn't work. That's not one. If you have an angle and a side, and like an angle that's not between the sides, then it wouldn't work. But if that angle happens to be right, so you got angle side, side, and it's right, hey, that is actually going to work. We will call it
HL.
HL for hypotenuse and leg. All right, same kind of problems yesterday. We're trying to use our rules, our postulates, our laws, to prove the triangles you're looking at are congruent. It's going to take a little higher order thinking. They get a little more difficult, so we'll see a few different types of problems. Okay, one thing you're going to notice different about these from the previous one is they're not going to put all the markings in the picture for you. You're going to have to put some in yourself or at least understand some. Where is GJ at?
Bottom left.
Bottom left. That's this. It's congruent to IJ. Right here. So they don't put the markings in there, but they're telling you explicitly, this is me telling you explicitly that this is congruent to this. Now let's think what we have in this picture after you made those markings. We definitely have a side and an angle congruent to a side and an angle. What's the first thing you should notice about these triangles that are up next to each other like that?
They share a side.
Shared side. So that side has to be the same length because it's shared. So I'll give it a little double tick mark. Now let's think what we got. You got a side, we have two sides with the angle between them. Two sides with the angle between them. So like you said, side, angle, side, SAS. That's one of our things, right?
Yeah.
SAS. Okay, let's look at our answers. We only have one that says SAS, right? So it's got to be that one. Side, angle, side. Two sides with the angle between them. Two sides with the angle between them. Okay, let's come down to this one. Again, no markings in the picture at all. UV, where's that?
The top.
Top rightish or top there. All right, it's congruent to XV, so that same line extended as in V is like the midpoint there. TV.
The bottom.
Yeah, the bottom here. That's congruent to VW or WV.
The top.
There you go. We got two sides here. I got these two sides congruent to these two sides right there. Now that's all the information they told us. You mentally need to look at that and see immediately that there's something that we know is congruent. What is it?
Angles.
Angles, because we have what kind of angles?
Vertical.
Vertical angles. So they don't have to tell us explicitly those are congruent, because no matter what, those are vertical angles. Now what do we got? We got the same thing again. We got two sides with an angle between them. S, A, S. Let's look at our answers. Sometimes you're going to see a couple of SAS on there, but we got two SAS, don't we? Okay, it's all about getting the right SAS. Okay, so which one of these is right? Now they both start out the same. TUV. Order matters. Think about TUV. TUV. What angle do you think goes with T? W. Look, here's how you know for sure you're right. You see how T touches side 2?
Yep.
W touches side 2. So when we go TUV, we should be going from W to X. So we want to go WXV. So TUV, WXV. So it's this one. If you went TUV, you shouldn't start your next triangle off at V. TUV, then VWX. So that's not it. That's close, but the order was wrong that they put those in. Oh my, this one, wait, this one's tough. This one kind of always looks like kind of like a crown or something like that. IK, that's a diagonal IK. Now I want to put this marking right here, but I want you to know that marking doesn't mean from here to here, it means the whole IK. IK is congruent to JH. This whole thing. That's your first thing. Now HI, that's the left side. And KJ, is there KJ or that's the right side. Here's what we're actually going to try to prove on this one right here. There's two triangles that are kind of overlapping, and what we're going to do is sketch them apart. This triangle right here, IKH, IKH. See that with your eyes? We're going to try to prove that IKH, they probably wrote it different, but it doesn't matter, is congruent to this one right here. IKH is JHK. So it's like we have these two triangles that went on top of each other. So what I want you to do, and the reason I left this space over here to the right, is that we can separate them out. You don't have to be a great artist, but I want to separate this out. So I want to draw this triangle IKH without anything else in it. IKH. And I want to put my markings back in it that were in there. Now to the right of that, I want to sketch the other triangle here. But I want to pull it apart. Put the markings in there. So how you need to visually think about it is as if you had these two triangles that were overlapping, and then we just pulled them apart. Now, one thing we should notice is that, what's the name of this side right here? This bottom one?
HK.
What's the name of this bottom side?
HK.
They're both HK. What do you think that means?
They're the same.
They're the same. They shared it when they were together, right? When we pull it apart, they're the same length. So it was a shared side. So it must have been congruent to itself, obviously. So those triangles are congruent using what postulate? Side, side, side. They were overlapping triangles. If you pull them apart, it's easier to see they are congruent by side, side, side. Now let's make sure we choose the right one, though. H, if you're going to say H, J, K, as in B, H, J, K, then you need to say K, I, H. On C, it says HKJ, and then JK, JKI, which isn't even a triangle. There's no triangle JKI, if you notice. So, how's that one? That might be one of the tougher ones because you kind of need to sketch your own for it. Second example. Oh, here we start putting other words in there. Instead of not giving you the markings, they're going to use the word bisect. What does it mean when something bisects an angle? This segment bisects that angle. When we bisect an angle,
divide it into two equal parts.
two equal parts. So they're trying to tell you two angles that are congruent. Where? Look with your eyes. Where is IJK? The angle IJK. Where,
The outside of it.
where's the angle IJK?
On the
IJK.
Oh.
It's this angle right here. If this was like an arrowhead, It's the tip of the arrowhead. We just bisected it. We were told it was bisected, so what does that mean?
Cutting it into 2 equal parts.
It's 2 equal parts. The part above is equal to the part below it. They're telling you that, they're telling you LJ. That's what, LJ is bisecting this angle right here. So this is congruent to this. Now what bisect means? Now they're not going to say bisects here. They're just going to say, also, I'm going to tell you another angle that's congruent. ILJ, where's that at? Very important. Where's it? Where?
It's like the top.
Top half. It's not up at I. It's over by L, but top half. Where is JLK?
Bottom.
Yeah, bottom half. So they're telling you ILJ and JLK are congruent. Give that one a double arc. So that way we can see those two are congruent. That's all they're going to give you. You're going to have to see for yourself something else. What is it that you probably need to see here? All we got is 2 angles. That's all they gave us.
They share.
They are next to each other, so they're sharing that LJ side. So then we do have a side, and there's 3 things. You have 2 angles and a side. Question is, with our 2 angles, is the side between the 2 angles? Yeah, so when the side's between the 2 angles, what do we got?
ASA.
Angle, side, angle. ASA. There's only one of those on here, right?
2.
So it's
Oh,
the top one and bottom one are congruent by ASA. Important to know. Oh, it gets tough down here too. It's tough down here. All right. VWX is equilateral. What does it mean to be equilateral?
Equal.
What's equal?
Same.
So what's same?
Congruent.
Sides, right? So if they're telling you that this triangle is equilateral, let's put 3 tick marks. That means this is congruent to this is congruent to this. So now we've got sides all over the place that are congruent. This one, it doesn't tell us exactly what we're searching for. We're going to somehow try to see if we can find 2 out of these. There's 4 triangles in this picture, if you did not notice. Triangle 1, triangle 2, triangle 3, and then the whole thing is a 4th triangle. We're going to try to choose 2 of them and say they're congruent. All right, VY, double arc, is congruent to XY. That's all we know. All we know. Can you see 2 triangles that would be congruent based on one of our postulates? All we have is a bunch of sides all over the place.
Yeah.
Just visually, can you kind of see that 2 that look like the same
Yeah.
and 1 that doesn't? Right? So which 2 look the same?
The top two.
The top 2. Now, we can prove it, but you need to know which one. You've got a side and a side, a side and a side. We don't have any angles. It would help if maybe we had another side.
And they share a side.
Yeah, you see that the one side that we don't have is shared, isn't it? So that's got to be the same. So what do we have? Side, side, side. Between, we got to make sure we choose the right one, between this triangle and this triangle. So let's find out of the 2 answers choices we have. All right, VYW. VYW, is that one of the ones we want?
Yes.
VYW and XYW. Okay, that's it. Just to make sure, what is it? VXY, that was one, we didn't want that one. Wasn't that one. Moving on to the next one. We got 3 left here. Oh, they're going to tell you something about parallel lines here. You remember yesterday. If you know about parallel lines, what are we going to try to look for? Starts with an A.
Arrow.
I can put the arrows in here. Okay, first things first. FC, or BC and FE are congruent, so that's congruent. BC and EF are also parallel, so that gets these. about. That's all we got. But when you got parallel lines, what is it that we need to look for? Hopefully some kind of angles.
Alternate.
Maybe some alternate interior angles?
Yeah.
Okay. Think about it. If these are our parallel lines, remember that zigzag, that Z that we talked about? If we got this parallel line, zigzag over here, what can we say is congruent?
The zigzag.
Okay, so what are the angles? BC. On this one, you could just say angle C. If you're talking about the top right, angle C, which is congruent to what?
And E.
Angle E. Those are alternate interior angles. Alternate interior angles. Look and see if you see another one though.
Vertical.
You do have the verticals too. I don't know if we're going to use that one or not, but that's in there as well. So we do have that. So we can give that a 2. But look at B and F. Are they alternate interior?
They are indeed.
They are indeed. It zigzags like the other way. Parallel line, transversal, parallel line. So those we're going to have a lot. We're going to have more information. We know what to do. We got all the angles. Give it a 3 on that one. So it's surely going to be either angle, angle, side, or it's going to be angle, side, angle. Here, if you did this, if you said, look, angle, angle, side, that would work. Angle, angle, side, that would work. But we don't. That's not even an option, is it? They're going to use the bottom 2 angles. They're going to use the bottom 2 angles with the side. So they're going to say angle, side, angle. Angle, side, angle. Now the question is, which one is right? Obviously this one's out. All right, if I said BCD, does BCD go with EFD? No, what's wrong with that?
The B or F?
B should go with what? B should go with F. Okay, so I got BCD, DFE. Nope, because we want B to go with F. BCD and FED. Only one that would work. So we got the right thing, but then you have to make sure you list the angles in the right spots. All right, these last two, something a little bit different about it. It says, all right, given the markings, so we have markings this time, state the theorem or postulate that proves the triangles are congruent, then list the other corresponding parts. So when you figure out what's the right answer, then choose like the answer that says all the other parts that aren't marked as being congruent. Let's just figure out what we got first. We definitely have some sides, a pair of sides. One side, we got angle, so we got side angle. What do we know that's not marked?
The shared
The shared side. Shared side. So you got side angle, side. So we're looking for SAS, one way or the other. Side angle, side. So between C and D. Now here's what I mean by list the other parts. So it's one of these two. Make sure that we start listing the parts that aren't marked. A and C go together, don't they? Okay, that's on both of them. Here's where you're going to get it right. AD and CD, that's already marked, isn't it? It wants you to list the other parts, like AB and CB, and ABD and CBD. So it's this one. List the other congruent parts. List the other congruent parts. We got, this one's a similar picture, but we know different stuff. This one should be really easy. Yeah, we got shared sides. So we got side, side, side. So we are definitely, when you go to look at it, how many answers say side, side, side? So it's got to be that one, right? That is it.
I don't like those.
It's tough. Those are
Wow,
definitely,
it's not hard.
definitely tough.
Yeah, he needs, I thought he was whole.
Okay. Go ahead, wait for the camera on. Or hide your face if you want to. There we go.
Me, look at me. Me.
Oh.
Me.